Okay, so I was asked this question from a couple of Rams fans I know personally. This question was asked about Allen Robinson. What was my thoughts about the Rams trading Allen Robinson? And let's keep it a ruthless. Okay, last offseason I said he wasn't a fit. I wasn't saying it like as a hater, I wasn't saying it like to talk a lot of crap. I just thought he wasn't a fit to begin with. I said Robert Woods, them trading Robert Woods was a mistake. And I proved myself to be right otherwise. One thing that kind of really surprised me about how they signed this guy was he was a possession receiver. Allen Robinson was a possession receiver. He wasn't a guy who would run those routes. He wasn't a guy that runs those routes like most of the receivers. Robert Woods was coming off an ACL injury. I thought at the time he probably wasn't going to be the same receiver, but he was still going to produce. But they got rid of him for a 6th-round draft pick, which I thought was stupid on the Rams' part. But I was like, hey, that's cool. One less player to worry about. But when they went to sign Allen Robinson, it caught me by surprise. And I said, this guy ain't going to do squat against my team or any other team out there, because you have to look at the scheme fits. So it kind of got some Rams fans kind of saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. He's going to have a better season. He hasn't played with a quarterback like Matthew Stafford. Oh, he's going to put up some better numbers than he's ever did. And I was just not saying it to be a fucking smartass. No, I was just saying it just to keep it real with y'all. But some of y'all took it offense because I'm a Niners fan. And just by going by my football topics, man, I just didn't see it as a fit. And then what made a lot of sense about this move? Financially, okay, as an outside looking in, they are pretty much in cap hell right now. They got to pay some players that are pretty much that are going to be pretty much out of their roster. They had to make some tough decisions because of what's going to happen. It's going to be hard to retain certain core players when you've actually kind of made some significant moves, like you're trying to make some Madden moves and all that stuff. But eventually all that shit comes to an end. Sometimes when it comes down to it, you have to realize that all the players that you retain and however you manipulate the cap space, man, it starts to catch up. So the trade for Allen Robinson to go to the Steelers, it wasn't like nothing to acquire. The Steelers, all they had to do was just swap a 7th-round pick. That's all they had to do. They didn't lose a draft capital. They only just paid $5 million. That is a steal. Whether Allen Robinson pans out in Pittsburgh or not, I think that's a freaking steal. Signing him to $5 million, and the Rams will only just pay $10 million of that remaining contract there, because the contract he originally signed was probably around $15 million, but they're paying $10 million. They're paying $10 million for somebody who's not going to be on their roster. So the Steelers get this guy on a very, very cheap deal, and then they'll probably have to pay the rest of the next year's contract. So I don't think, as much as I look at it, man, I think the Rams really admit that they fucked up. I think realistically, they really screwed up, and they, when you have to live up to your mistakes, you're going to have to make some tough losses. I don't think he was even going to be a part of the plans, despite how they signed him to a contract. I think they were trying to find a way to get rid of him because he didn't pan out. And why keep a guy with that much money on your team if you can go draft one, if you can develop one, if you can try to bring in somebody for a reasonable price? It just didn't seem to fit. Financially, it just didn't seem to work out. So you pretty much saved yourself a little money, but you're still going to have to pay at least this season's salary cap for a guy who's not going to be on your team. So it's pretty much like you take your L and move forward. But are they going to still be as competitive in our division? They're probably still going to be competitive, but they're not going to even make the playoffs. I know I'm probably going to get flack for this shit, But I think you're going to have to understand this is going to take a lot. It's going to take some time. I expect their defense to decline a little more. Their offense is going to be pretty interesting. The question mark is, can Stafford still be the same quarterback? It seems like the elbow is bothering him, but we'll see. I don't think it's going to be much of a problem, but I think it's concerning to look at it this way. Are their defense going to hold up to it? Are their defense going to be a lot better? And I just think on paper they just got rid of so many pieces. Leonard Floyd's gone. Jalen Ramsey's gone. I mean, you lose some players here and there, and it's going to, but then you got the draft, so you might be able to find some players here and there, but you're not going to be able to replace the production of what Leonard Floyd and Jalen Ramsey brought to the team. It's going to take a little time to replace that, but when you look at it this way, it's going to be, they should be a lot better than 6 wins, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't even think they'll even be second place or top of their division. I think they'll be bottom division at this point. Next year, they probably will be dead serious. They'll probably go aggressive, but this is the offseason for them to save some money. This is their time to spend a little on the dollar store, cut down some of these players that are not working out for you, and cut your losses and move on. Take some of the dead cap out of the way, and then move forward for next year. That's the plan. The Rams' approach going into this offseason is, we're going to have to cut our losses on these players. We're going to have to cut our mistakes, save some money, and then go big next year. That's probably what their approach is. So that's the way I look at it. And if that answers your question, I'm just telling you that's how it seems like. So I'm keeping it a ruthless with you, and I'm keeping it honest. So let me know what y'all think. But I think that's what the situation kind of ended up being from there. So there you go. Peace.